Hi there, Bilal. My name is Ellen. I'll be correcting this set of essays for you. I'm very happy to see that you've signed up to the course and you've begun with your essays. So let's take a look and see what you wrote for us today. The topic is whether schools should be more entertaining, so here's what you said. It is often argued that schools should have more entertainment, while others prefer that their main goal is to provide education for children. This essay will discuss both views and provide examples, and I will state my own opinion. Okay. Let's talk about this a little bit. On the whole, it's okay, but there are some issues with it that we do need to fix, okay? Let's start, first of all, with some of the grammar. So, it is often argued that schools should have more entertainment, while others, the word here actually is not grammar, it's vocabulary. The word is not prefer here, it's not appropriate. It should have been assert or support. One of those words would have been better here. So while others assert that their main goal is to provide education for children, that would have been better. Okay, and then here, I didn't like that you had all these ands here. You said this essay will discuss both views, comma, provide examples, and I will state my own opinion. Okay, that was one way you could have done it. So, that's as far as grammar and vocabulary are concerned. But now let's talk about something else which has to do with task achievement. Take a look at the essay question. Okay, it says here very clearly, which do you agree with? Now, every IELTS essay has some sort of a command, something where it's some sort of a statement or a question where they essentially tell you what they want to know the answer to. What's the main thing that they want to know that you have to provide? And your answer to whatever that command or that question is, essentially is your position. All right, if you look at the band descriptors for task achievement under band 7, it says that the writing must present a clear position throughout the response. Okay, so in other words, the examiner should be able to pick out your position from the beginning to the end, because that's what throughout means. Okay, so what am I trying to tell you? That essentially you need to answer this question or whatever question the essay has in your introduction. All right, which means that saying that you're going to discuss both views and state your own opinion is inappropriate. You need to just tell us which you agree with. Okay, it's asked you very straight out, a very direct question. You should answer that question very directly in your introduction. Okay, now, which brings me to another thing. You said that you're going to discuss both views. So my question to you is, why are you going to discuss both views? Do you see that both views are valid? Is there some reason why you think you have to analyze both views? Because it asked you which side, which of these opinions do you agree with. So it's okay to talk about both views if it's clear to us why you're doing it, okay? In other words, if you do think that schools must be more entertaining, and then you describe that, and then you don't think that their sole purpose is to educate, and you explain to us again why you don't think their sole purpose is to educate, then it makes sense that you're going to discuss both views. But it's really important that when you have an essay like this, where they say which side you agree with, if you're going to discuss both views, it has to be logically organized and it has to make sense that you're going to discuss both views. Okay? Anyway, I think that's a lot of information just after your introduction. So let's move on a little bit to the essays themselves, to the essay itself, and see what you actually said. So, on the one hand, the ultimate purpose of schools is to educate children through a consistent and clear curriculum. It provides, S here, them with the right tools and methods, S, so they can be ready for the job market after they graduate with no D. Full stop here. Moreover, educational institutions build with a D, not a T, up necessary skills for the life success of our generation. For example, comma, teaching children science, with no capital here, will provide them with the necessary ideas required for further studies to be future scientists. Okay, so you're talking about the need to educate, and I understand that. But I think what you needed to do a little more here is basically to tell us that there is no room for entertainment in this kind of an educational system, okay? Because you didn't mention it anywhere. I thought that based on what you wrote, that, you know what, you could have included entertaining elements in here. But what I wanted you to tell us is that, you know, making future scientists of the world has no room, or has very little room for, you know, entertaining games and you know, role plays in the classroom. This is very serious stuff, and so one must give 100% of their attention to these academic subjects and not be kind of led astray with fun kind of games in the classroom. So that's the kind of thing that was missing for me, really showing us that in this type of classroom, in this type of educational institution, the focus is on learning, and anything that is different from that really doesn't belong there. I didn't really get that, so I wanted you to just kind of make that a little clearer in this paragraph. Okay, there were some grammatical mistakes that I corrected along the way. I want you to be careful about some of these mistakes because they're fairly simple ones, like after they graduate, build. So the tenses are all wrong, and I really want you to be careful about this because these are pretty basic grammatical errors, and examiners are not so forgiving with these. It's one thing if you make mistakes in advanced grammar. Examiners are more forgiving about those kinds of things, but if you make mistakes on basic grammar, not such a good thing to do. So let's go on to your next body paragraph. On the other hand, pupils should have some entertainment during their day, and particularly at school, so they will not feel bored and annoyed from the daily routine. A wide range of choices can be introduced to their schedule, such as arts and sports, which can give them a time of free thinking and doing important physical activity that is also required as standard education for their development. Therefore, recreational facilities are required to be present at any school and for the benefit of children. Well, just get rid of and. For the benefit of the children. Okay, this is nice, but it's a little underdeveloped. Okay? So what's missing for me is why, okay? You said so that they will not feel bored and annoyed from the daily routine. Okay, fine. You said that arts and sports can give them a time of free thinking and doing important physical activity. Okay, well, why is it important? Why is it required? Okay, that was missing for me. Why is this so important? Okay, and then my other question to you is this. We're talking about entertaining activities. So I want you to think for a moment, what do we mean by entertainment? What is entertainment? All right, think about it for a minute. Entertainment, if you want to think about some synonyms, for example, you can think about fun, you can think about enjoyment, you can think about amusement, okay? Things that are kind of lighthearted. Think about television shows or movies that are entertaining. What are they? Okay, what kind of common theme do they have? So this is what we're talking about, introducing elements that are fun, amusing, lighthearted, enjoyable, including those into the classroom. So when you talk about arts and sports, are those entertaining? Okay, so if you're in a painting class, for example, is that enjoyable, lighthearted, fun, amusing? Or sports as well. I know a lot of people take sports very seriously when they're playing them. So is that necessarily entertaining? Okay, this is where IELTS is essentially testing your vocabulary. They want to make sure that you understand what is meant by the word entertaining. Okay, so you can very certainly argue that arts and sports are entertaining for the student in the class, okay? But you have to explain it and you have to prove it to the examiner. Alrighty, let's move on. To conclude with a lowercase c here, although schools have their crucial role in providing the young with proper education through a clear path curriculum, Get rid of however, because you can't have all though and however in the same sentence. Creating leisure time, get rid of A, during their day is also important for their brain development. Thus, I strongly believe that a middle ground should be reached between both opinions, S, so our children will get the optimum benefits, yeah, get rid of, from both sides. Okay. Okay. This was nicely written. It was good. Although, again, I'm a little concerned with the fact that even your kind of 50-50 argument here didn't totally answer the question. They do want you to side with one over the other. All right? So it's advised that you should not take a middle ground kind of position. At least, like, to some degree, side with one over the other. All right? Because there's also something in the band descriptors that I want you to look at. I can't remember right now if it's band 6 or band 5, but there's something in task achievement that says a position, main ideas are developed, but conclusions cannot be reached. So essentially, that's kind of what's happening. We're not really reaching a conclusion. You're telling us, well, they're both good. But they asked you a different question. They said, which do you agree with? And so it's really, really important to address this and answer the question that they've asked you, rather than kind of taking this middle of the road kind of position. All right, we spent a ton of time on your first essay, Bilal, so I want to go to your second one. All right, so here we go. It's doing an enjoyable activity with a child. Let's get straight into it. Children, not children development, but child development depends on many factors. Some claim that reading is not enough and it should be accompanied by activities that promote, with no S, a more advanced thinking. I believe that this statement is completely true and we'll discuss it thoroughly in this essay. Clear, good, nice, no problems. So, firstly, young children have their own way to receive information. They cannot be treated like adults through giving them books to read. Okay, careful with some of the grammar here. You needed a semicolon here or a full stop. Or you could have said as they cannot be treated like adults, comma, giving them books to read without the through. Capital T here with the best way to provide them with the details required for their growth is, you're missing a verb here, is through enjoyable games and toys. Recent studies from Harvard University show, no S, that giving children colorful books with animation increases, you need an S here because giving children something is the noun, increases the level of their intelligence by 30% compared to others who only read books from white papers. Okay. Therefore, entertainment is important to be introduced. Okay, change this around a little bit. Therefore, entertainment is important to be introduced when teaching a child. I don't know. There's something off about the grammar here. Let's see. Therefore, entertainment is important. No. Therefore, entertainment is needed when teaching a child. Okay? Let's try the second paragraph now. Secondly, a strong bond, not bound, bond, is created between the youngsters and the teacher. When? The study moment will become more enjoyable and the children will wait patiently, this is really spelled wrong, will wait patiently for the next lesson, full stop, not to get rid of that. Moreover, adding physical activities to the information provided is very much recommended. A recent study by the Sorbonne University shows that adding educational physical activities to the daily routine of the pupils can increase their level of intelligence by 20% compared to others who are living a more sedentary lifestyle. Okay. In conclusion, I don't know what happened here. Capital I, lowercase c, lowercase r. In conclusion, reading is crucial for children through the standard method. However, I strongly believe, and according to the studies shown above, that receiving this is awkward. However, according to the studies above, I strongly believe that receiving and analyzing the information in the proper way can be done through enjoyable activities, thus leading them to be more creative and intelligent in the future. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, which is really very basic, is just some of the grammar. There were some consistent mistakes throughout this essay. So I really want you to be careful with these mistakes. Some of them are basic grammar, things that I don't know if it's just, rushing or what it is, but I really want you to be careful with some of these mistakes as they kind of lower the overall effect of the essay. Okay? There were some mistakes with vocabulary, like I don't know if it was spelling or what it was, but that should have been patiently instead of passionately. So there were a handful of things like that too. However, for me, the more important thing in this essay is the task achievement part of it. I kind of feel like it wasn't 100% developed appropriately. Let me tell you what I mean by this. Look at the task again. Doing an enjoyable activity can develop better skills and more creativity than reading. Okay? And you said that you agree with this. But here, you were talking about giving them books with animation. I mean, isn't that essentially a precursor to reading? Like, you're saying that no, don't read books with a child, but give them books that have animation. So I didn't understand that paragraph at all. Supposedly you were talking about other things that develop skills. Okay, other activities rather than reading. So I was really confused about this. And I didn't think this was an appropriate way to develop this paragraph at all. I don't know why my mouse just jumped up like that. Okay, so yeah, this felt to me really rather strange. And then this also felt rather strange to me because again, we're talking about other activities other than reading that can develop these skills and creativity. Here, you started talking about a strong bond, which I didn't understand, and then this thing about waiting for the next lesson, and then you started talking in the middle of the paragraph about physical activities. So, and unfortunately, the only skill that you talked to us about really was intelligence. You talked about intelligence here, and you talked about intelligence here as well. So, it absolutely needed some work with development, with topic development, and it needed to be, well, I can give you a handful of ideas about what you could have done. For example, you never talked about creativity. The essay very clearly has better skills. So think about some skills. What kind of skills do children develop? They develop motor skills. They develop hand-eye coordination. They develop teamwork skills. They develop leadership skills. They develop, I don't know, writing skills. They just develop a whole bunch of things as they as they continue through childhood. But the only thing you talked about was intelligence, which didn't really feel appropriate for me. Okay? Now, the other thing that you had to pay attention to is that they have separated creativity from these other skills. Now, what that means is that they really want you to spend some time analyzing creativity and what kinds of activities can children do that will increase their creativity more than reading possibly could. Okay, so one thing you could have done here is you could have spent a paragraph talking about, oh, I don't know, how sports can develop different skills, like perhaps hand-eye coordination, okay? Or maybe it can develop teamwork, or maybe it can develop good sportsmanship skills, how to be a good winner, how to be a good loser. So these are some things that children can gain from sports that they could not possibly gain from reading. And then in this paragraph, you could have talked about a certain type of art, maybe playing a musical instrument, maybe drawing, and how these activities can develop different skills, again, that reading cannot develop. Okay, so that was one way you could have done this essay. There are a lot of other ways, but I just want to give you a suggestion about how you could have done it. And as you can see in both paragraphs, there is a comparison to reading saying that, look, my suggestions will develop things that reading couldn't possibly develop. Okay, so that's a little advice on how to deal with this kind of essay. If you have any questions about the feedback in this video, do let me know in your email response. So let's talk about what the next steps are for you. The first thing I want you to do is correct these essays based on the feedback today. And return those to us. Along with your corrected essays, I'd like you to send us an error correction list. So write down all the mistakes that were pointed out to you and the corrected version next to each mistake, okay? Add to that list with each essay correction you get back from us. And then, of course, the third thing you have to do is send us a new set of essays. So get that started. Let's meet back here in the next couple of days with your new set of essays. I'm looking forward to it, so I want to wish you lots of luck.